Hey guys, tonight you wake up and someone's painting your face white. Your new owner is watching from the doorway. We'll get to why you're worth more than his best horse. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Now dim the lights and settle in, because tonight we're following your new life as a male concubine in Tang Dynasty China, somewhere around 750 AD, where your existence sits somewhere between luxury pet and political tool, and where the silk sheets you sleep on cost more than most families see in a lifetime, but you'll never actually own them or anything else, including yourself. You're 14 years old, and yesterday your parents sold you to a merchant who deals in beautiful boys. Not because they hate you, but because the tax collector came 3 times this harvest, and there's nothing left. Your mother cried. Your father looked at the wall. The merchant counted silver pieces while examining your teeth like you're a horse. He paid extra because you can read a little, and your face has what he calls good bones. You don't know what that means yet, but you will. The merchant's cart smells like incense and vomit. There are 4 other boys with you, all between 12 and 16, all with the same confused look. One of them has been crying since morning, and the merchant's assistant, a man with no front teeth, keeps telling him crying makes the eyes puffy, and puffy eyes sell for less. The boy can't stop, though. His name is Wei, and he's from a village near yours. You'll never see him again after tomorrow, because he'll go to a minor official, and you're going somewhere else entirely. Let's be clear about what's happening to you. You're not a slave exactly, but you're not free either. You exist in this strange space Chinese law creates where you're property that can think, valuable merchandise that needs education, an investment that requires careful maintenance. Your parents signed a contract. 20 years of service. If you run, they'll hunt you down and your family pays triple the original price. If you die, your family still owes half. The contract is very specific about what happens if you damage yourself. Don't damage yourself. The training house in Chang'an is 3 stories tall, and you've never seen a building this big. They wash you first, 3 times, with water so hot your skin turns red. A woman with hands like leather scrubs dirt from places you didn't know had dirt. She examines every inch of your body, notes a scar on your knee from when you fell chasing chickens, writes something on a wooden tablet. Your worth just went down 2 silver pieces. The scar will need covering with powder every single day for the rest of your service. Of course, there's a cat here. There's always a cat in places like this, a fat orange thing that belongs to nobody and everybody feeds. This cat's name is General Mao, and he sleeps wherever he wants, and you learn quickly that if General Mao chooses your bed, you sleep on the floor. General Mao has been here 12 years. He's outlasted 37 boys, 4 madams, and 1 complete change of ownership. He judges you with yellow eyes that have seen everything. You fail his assessment. He pisses on your shoes. Your training starts immediately. How to walk. You walk wrong, countryside stride, taking up space like you have somewhere to go. You need to glide, small steps, hips forward, shoulders back, but not too far back, neck extended, but not strained. They make you balance books on your head for hours. If a book falls, you start over. How to pour wine. The angle matters, the speed matters, the way you hold your wrist matters. How to play the chin. Your fingers are too rough from farm work, so they soak them in oils until the calluses soften. How to sing. Your voice hasn't broken yet, which makes you valuable for maybe 2 more years, 3 if you're lucky. The food here is better than anything you've ever eaten. White rice every day, actual meat twice a week, vegetables that aren't rotting. You gain weight for the first time in your life. This is intentional. Skinny boys remind buyers of poverty. You need to look expensive, fed, cared for. They teach you to eat slowly, tiny bites, chewing with your mouth completely closed. No slurping, no reaching. Wait to be served? Always leave something on the plate to show you're not desperate. Your teacher is Master Liu, a former concubine himself who served 23 years and earned his freedom. He moves like water, speaks in whispers, never looks anyone directly in the eye unless he's making a point. His fingers are permanently stained with ink from teaching boys to write poetry, not good poetry. Nobody expects good poetry. But you need to know enough to compliment your master's terrible verses without sounding sarcastic. Master Liu's face tells you nothing. You'll study under him for 6 months and never once see him smile or frown. Emotions are for people who own themselves. The other boys in your cohort each have their roles already forming. Chun is beautiful in a way that makes grown men stop talking mid-sentence. He knows it too, practices his smile in every reflective surface. Jin can play 7 instruments, but cries every night, muffled in his pillow so the trainers won't hear. Bao is too tall, almost 6 feet, which limits his options to buyers who have specific tastes. And little Feng, who's not little at all, but got the name because there was a big Feng here last year, who aged out and now works in a pleasure house by the Western market. General Mao has decided Chun is acceptable. The cat sleeps on Chun's bed now, purrs when Chun practices calligraphy. This makes Chun valuable in a way the rest of you aren't. Buyers notice which boys the cat prefers. It suggests something about temperament, about luck. You try bribing General Mao with fish stolen from the kitchen. He eats the fish, then vomits on your writing practice. Master Liu makes you clean it up and copy the same poem 50 more times. The medical examinations happen weekly. A doctor who smells like rice wine and garlic checks your teeth, your eyes, your skin. He makes you bend in ways that hurt, checking flexibility. He examines your private areas with the emotional investment of someone counting beans. He notes that your shoulders are getting too broad, writes something down. They reduce your food portions. Broad shoulders suggest labor, masculinity. You need to stay boyish, delicate. They start giving you special tea that tastes like dirt and makes you feel dizzy. Your shoulders stop growing. The tea is mercury mixed with lead powder and something from toads that makes your heart beat wrong. You know this because Jin's uncle was an herbalist, and Jin recognizes the smell. But knowing doesn't change anything. You drink it because not drinking it means breach of contract. Breach of contract means your family loses everything. So you drink poison that keeps you looking like a child, while it slowly kills you from the inside. The trainers know. Master Liu knows. Everyone knows. It's built into the price. You learn the history of concubinage while living it. During the Han Dynasty, male concubines were called Long Yang after Lord Long Yang, the beloved of the King of Wei. It was almost respectable then, a position of potential influence. By the Tang Dynasty where you exist now, it's something else. Not illegal, but not spoken of in polite company. Rich men keep boys the way they keep rare birds, for beauty, for status, for the particular pleasure of owning something fragile. The training includes things you didn't expect. How to apply makeup, white lead base that makes your skin itch, red cinnabar for lips that tastes like metal, kohl around the eyes to make them larger. How to remove body hair with tweezers and burning creams that leave rashes. How to make your voice higher by pressing on your throat. How to fake pleasure you don't feel. How to hide pain you do feel. How to be grateful for attention you don't want. How to thank someone for hurting you. 6 months pass. Your voice is still high enough to be valuable. Your body, despite the mercury tea, is starting to change in small ways. Hair appears where it shouldn't. Your jaw wants to square, but the constant hunger keeps it soft. You've learned to play 3 instruments adequately, sing 20 poems, pour wine without spilling, apply makeup in complete darkness, walk like you're floating, smile while dying inside. The viewing day arrives. Lower tier buyers come to see what will be available at the main auction. You stand in a line wearing silk robes that cost more than your family's house. The robe is blue with silver thread, chosen specifically because it makes your skin look paler. Pale is good. Pale means you don't work outside. Pale means refined. The buyers walk past slowly, examining. One man, a grain merchant with teeth like old corn, wants to look in your mouth. You open. He sticks his fingers in, checking your teeth like your livestock. His fingers taste like copper and something rotten. Another buyer, wearing official robes, asks you to sing. You sing the spring poem Master Lu taught you, the one about plum blossoms and eternal beauty. Your voice cracks on the 3rd verse. The official moves on to Chun. Chun's voice never cracks. A woman, the 3rd wife of some minister, examines you like furniture she's not sure matches her decor. She discusses your defects with her maid as if you're deaf. Your hips are too narrow. Your nose is too broad. You're not worth the asking price. She settles on a boy named Lotus, 12 years old with a face like a girl. General Mao watches all this from his perch on a window ledge. Sometimes he yawns. Sometimes he licks his paws. Once, he jumps down and walks through the line of boys, rubbing against certain legs, ignoring others. He rubs against yours, just once, barely a touch. The next buyer notices, says the cat has good taste, offers 3 taels above asking price. The sale doesn't go through. You're reserved for the autumn market, but your value just increased. You owe a cat your perceived worth. The older boys, the ones who've been here a year or more, tell you stories at night about buyers who treat their concubines well, almost like family. About others who go through boys like clothes, discarding them when they bore or break. About the house of autumn leaves where broken concubines go when they can't serve anymore. About the boy who tried to run and was caught and what they did to his tendons so he could never run again. He still had to serve, crawling when necessary. You learn practical things too. How to hide bruises with powder. How to make yourself vomit silently if forced to drink too much. How to go somewhere else in your mind when things are happening to your body. How to cry without ruining your makeup. How to smile when you're screaming inside. How to be grateful for small mercies like a day without pain or a meal without watchers or a night of actual sleep. The autumn market approaches and your training intensifies. You're woken at the 3rd drum now, 2 hours before dawn. Cold water on your face to reduce puffiness. Exercises to maintain flexibility, splits that tear muscles, back bends that crack vertebrae. Your feet are soaked in vinegar to keep them soft. Your hands are wrapped in silk at night to prevent calluses. Every part of your body is maintained like you're an expensive instrument. Master Liu teaches you reading and writing beyond what you knew from village school, not for your benefit, but because educated concubines cost more. You learn classical poems, the kind that reference other poems that reference historical events, that reference philosophical concepts. You'll never need this knowledge, but you'll be expected to recognize when your master quotes something incorrectly and laugh appropriately, or look impressed, or stay silent, depending on his mood. You also learn accounting because some buyers want concubines who can manage household expenses. You learn enough medicine to tend minor injuries and illnesses because calling a doctor for a concubine is wasteful. You learn massage techniques for old men with bad joints. You learn to prepare opium pipes, the exact temperature, the precise amount, how to gauge when your master has had enough versus when he wants more. You learn to tell the difference between 20 kinds of tea by smell alone. But mostly you learn to read faces. The tiny muscle that twitches before anger, the way eyes narrow before lust, the particular stillness that comes before violence, the false kindness that precedes cruelty, the boredom that might mean dismissal or might mean he wants entertainment. Your survival depends on recognizing these signs and responding correctly before the moment fully forms. General Mao gets sick with something that makes him thin despite eating. The kitchen staff discusses putting him down, but he recovers, meaner than before. He starts leaving dead things in specific places. A mouse in the shoe of a trainer who beats boys too hard. A bird in the bed of a boy who steals food from others. You realize he's not random. He's deliberate. He sees everything and judges and executes his own justice. You leave him the good part of your fish. He stops pissing in your shoes, but starts sleeping on your bed, which means you sleep on the floor. This is actually an honor. Your cohort shrinks as boys are sold to eager early buyers who pay premium for first choice. Jin goes to a scholar who wants someone to play music while he writes. Jin seems relieved. It could be worse. Bao goes to a theater troupe that needs a tall villain. That's actually lucky. Theatrical work means public visibility, which means harder to disappear. Little Feng goes to someone you never see, just a servant who pays and takes him away at night. Feng looked resigned, like he always knew it would be like this. The night before the main auction, Master Liu comes to your room. He doesn't speak, just hands you a small jade pendant. It's cheap, barely jade at all, more stone than precious, but it's carved with the character for endurance. He leaves before you can thank him. You'll wear that pendant under your robes for the next 4 years, until it breaks. When it breaks, you'll know your endurance has run out too. The auction happens in a garden, because suffering should be beautiful. You're displayed on a platform with Chun and 6 other premium boys. The bidding starts at 30 taels for you, 40 for Chun. The numbers climb. A fat merchant bids on you. A thin official outbids him. A military officer outbids them both. But they're all outbid by Lord Zhang, who needs a gift for his patron Minister Wu. You cost 47 taels in the end. Chun costs 63 and goes to a prince's second cousin. You'll never see Chun again, but years later you'll hear he died at 19, still beautiful, poisoned by the prince's wife. Lord Zhang doesn't even look at you properly. You're not for him. You're a gift, like a vase or a horse or a particularly nice robe. He complains about the price while his servant leads you away. You don't get to say goodbye to anyone. General Mao is sleeping in a sunny spot and doesn't wake up. Master Liu is teaching a new class. The other boys are practicing their skills for their new masters. You existed here for 8 months, and now you don't. The journey to Minister Wu's estate takes 6 days. You ride in a covered cart that smells like old leather and someone's fear sweat, probably from the last person transported in it. You're fed twice a day, basic road food, rice, and pickled vegetables. On the 3rd day, General Mao appears in the cart. Nobody knows how. The drivers didn't see him. He just materializes like he was always there. He's fatter, which means he found food somewhere. He settles on your lap and purrs aggressively, claiming you. You share your rice with him. The drivers try to remove him once. General Mao removes part of the driver's hand. They leave him alone after that. The compound walls are 20 feet high, and you can't see the top from inside the cart. The gates are iron and wood, thick enough to stop a battering ram. Guards check papers 3 times before letting you through. Inside, the space is larger than your entire village. 17 buildings connected by covered walkways, so the wealthy never have to feel rain. Gardens that exist just to be looked at. Ponds with fish that cost more than people. trees trimmed into shapes that trees don't naturally grow in. Your quarters are in the Jade Pavilion, which sounds nice until you realize it's the farthest building from the main house. You're decorative, but you shouldn't be too visible. The pavilion has 3 rooms, a bedroom with a bed that could sleep 6 people, a sitting room where you'll entertain when commanded, and a small washing room with running water that you don't understand the mechanics of. The windows have paper that lets in light, but no one can see through. The door locks from the outside. Minister Wu sends for you that first evening. He's 61 years old, and his face looks like bread that's been left in water. Soft, pale, falling apart at the edges. His breath reaches you from across the room, medicine and rot and something sweet that shouldn't be sweet. When he smiles, you count 6 teeth. The rest are black stumps or empty spaces. His hands shake with palsy, but his eyes are sharp, measuring, calculating what he owns now. He makes you sing first. Your voice is still high enough to please him. Then the chin, which you play adequately. Then poetry, which you recite while he watches your mouth. Then you pour wine, and he criticizes your technique, even though you did it perfectly. This isn't about your skills. It's about establishing that everything you do is wrong and needs correction. You'll learn that nothing you ever do will be right. That's the point. If you could do something right, you might have worth beyond what he assigns you. That first night, he just watches you, makes you stand, turn, bend, kneel. He touches your face with fingers that feel like cold wax, examines your hands, your feet, behind your ears. He makes you open your mouth and counts your teeth, checks your tongue, smells your breath. Your livestock being evaluated. He seems satisfied with his gift. Lord Zhang chose well. You're young enough to last a few years, but old enough to know what's expected. Perfect. The other servants avoid you from the start. You're dangerous to know. The master's moods are unpredictable. Can anyone near his concubine, when he's angry, becomes a target? The exception is old Chun, the gardener, not related to beautiful Chun from training. He's been here 40 years, seen 5 concubines come and go. He doesn't speak to you directly, but sometimes leaves things where you'll find them. A flower that helps with headaches, a root that settles stomachs, a leaf that, if chewed, makes you sleep without dreams. General Mao has claimed a corner of the kitchen. The cook, Auntie Zhao, pretends to hate him but saves him the best fish parts. He's fatter within a week. Sometimes he visits your pavilion, usually when Minister Wu is there. The minister doesn't like cats, but General Mao doesn't care what the minister likes. The cat's presence distracts him, breaks his concentration. You're grateful. General Mao knows what he's doing. He always knows. Minister Wu's wife comes to inspect you on the 3rd day. She's 50-something, beautiful in the way expensive things are beautiful. Perfectly painted, perfectly dressed, perfectly still. She looks at you the way she might look at a stain on furniture, something unpleasant that exists in her house against her wishes. She doesn't speak to you. She speaks around you, to the air, about how some gifts are insults disguised as generosity. Then she leaves. That night your dinner is cold, and the rice is mixed with small stones. Your daily routine forms quickly. Wake at the 5th drum. Bathe in water scented with jasmine, because Minister Wu likes that smell. Apply makeup, white lead base, red cinnabar lips, kohl around the eyes. The lead makes your skin itch, but scratching ruins the powder. Dress in whatever was laid out the night before. Eat breakfast alone, small portions, watched by a servant who reports if you eat too much or too fast. Wait to be summoned. When summoned, you go to the main house. Sometimes Minister Wu wants music while he works. Sometimes he wants you to hold his arm while he walks, because the palsy makes him unsteady. Sometimes he wants you to sit perfectly still while he stares at you and drinks wine. Sometimes he wants other things. Those times are harder, but also easier because you can go somewhere else in your mind while they happen. The minister's health is failing in specific ways. The palsy gets worse weekly. His breath gets more rotten. Teeth fall out during dinners, and he doesn't notice. His memory slips. He calls you by names of previous concubines. It's angry when you don't respond to the right name. He takes medicine that makes his heart race, makes his face red, makes him sweat through his robes. The medicine sometimes gives him enough strength for what he wants to do to you. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's worse because he blames you. Let's talk about what happens in that bedroom, because it's not what stories pretend. The minister hasn't been functional in years. His equipment, as the servants call it, died long before you arrived, but he tries, for hours sometimes, with medicines, with devices, with increasing frustration that becomes rage, that becomes violence, that becomes weeping. You learn to make sounds that suggest pleasure even when you're bleeding. You learn to apologize for his failures. You learn to be grateful for his attention, even when that attention leaves bruises. The bruises are specific. Upper arms where he grabs when frustrated. Thighs from pinching when you don't respond right. Throat from choking when you make the wrong sound. You become expert at covering them with powder, arranging clothes to hide them, moving carefully so they don't show. The other servants know. They see everything. But acknowledging bruises means acknowledging what causes them, and nobody wants that conversation. General Mao often appears during these sessions. He sits in the doorway, staring at the minister with those yellow eyes. The minister throws things at him, but General Mao doesn't move, just keeps staring. It breaks the minister's concentration, makes him lose focus. Sometimes he gives up, dismisses you early. You want to thank the cat, but that would be acknowledging what happens here, and nobody acknowledges what happens here. Winter comes and the pavilion is cold. The braziers burn constantly, but heat rises and escapes through the roof. You're allowed one quilted robe, which isn't enough. Your hands turn blue while playing the chin. Your lips crack despite the wax. Minister Wu complains that you look ugly in winter, makes you wear summer silks when you serve him. You shake from cold, not fear, but he interprets it as fear which pleases him. Your health deteriorates in predictable ways. The lead in the makeup is poisoning your blood. Your gums are turning gray. The mercury in the tea, you still have to drink it daily, makes your hands shake. Hair falls out in patches you have to hide with creative styling. The constant stress makes you lose weight, but then they force you to eat more because you can't look starving. Your body doesn't know what to do anymore. It's fighting itself. The doctor who examines you monthly notes all this in his ledger. Gray gums, trembling hands, hair loss, weight fluctuation. He prescribes more mercury for the tremors, which makes them worse. More lead for the complexion, which makes your skin crack. More toad secretion for maintaining youth, which makes your heart skip beats. You're dying by prescription, and everyone involved knows it. The doctor writes satisfactory condition in his report. A new concubine arrives. Not a boy, a girl this time, 13 years old and terrified. She's placed in the Lotus Pavilion, closer to the main house. Minister Wu splits his attention now. 3 days with you, 3 days with her, 1 day to recover. You should be relieved, but you're not, because when he's frustrated with her, he takes it out on you. When he's frustrated with you, he takes it out on her. You're connected in suffering. Her name is Little Pearl, and she's from the South, where they speak differently. She doesn't understand half of what's said to her, which makes everything worse. You try to help when you can, teaching her the specific phrases that might keep her safer. How to apologize, how to praise, how to beg in the way he likes. She's grateful, but also suspicious. Why would you help her? You don't have a good answer, except that someone should help someone here. Spring brings visitors. Minister Wu shows you off at dinner parties. You pour wine, play music, stand behind his chair looking decorative. The guests make comments about your appearance, your skills, your probable talents. They speak about you like you're not there because to them, you're not. You're furniture that breathes. One guest, drunk on expensive wine, wants to borrow you for an evening. Minister Wu refuses. Not from kindness, but from possession. You're his property. Sharing would diminish that. The mercury dosage increases because your voice is changing despite all efforts. It cracks at unfortunate moments. Your jaw is squaring slightly. Hair grows where it shouldn't, requiring painful daily removal. You're 15 now, and biology doesn't care about contracts. The increased mercury makes you dizzy constantly. Sometimes you see double. Sometimes you forget where you are. Once you call Minister Wu by your father's name. He beats you unconscious. You wake up 3 days later with General Mao sleeping on your chest. Little Curl dies in summer. Officially, she fell in the garden pond. Accidentally, tragically. You know better because you helped pull her body out. The rocks tied to her robes were very specific rocks. She planned it carefully. She was 14 and decided drowning was better than another year of this. Minister Wu is furious, not from grief but from financial loss. He paid good money for her and she destroyed his property. Her family will owe triple the purchase price. You're the only concubine now. The minister's attention is undivided. He's getting worse, the palsy spreading to his legs. He falls frequently, blames you for not catching him even when you're across the room. His mind is going too. He forgets your name, calls you by names of concubines from decades ago. He tells you stories about things that happened with other boys, gets angry when you don't remember them. You learn to pretend you remember. Yes, that summer in the mountains. Yes, that song you sang. Yes, that night with the moon. The beatings get worse because his body works less. When he can't perform, it's your fault for not being beautiful enough, young enough, skilled enough. When medicine doesn't work, it's because you've cursed him somehow. When he falls, you pushed him with your mind. When his teeth fall out, you poisoned his food. The accusations make no sense, but sense doesn't matter. You apologize for everything. You caused his impotence. You caused his aging. You caused the rain that ruined his garden party. You accept blame for things that happened before you were born. Auntie Zhao in the kitchen takes pity on you. She can't do much, but she makes sure your food is warm, adds herbs that help with the mercury poisoning, saves the good rice for your portions. She tells you about the other concubines she's seen. Most last 2 years. The longest was 5 years. A boy named Spring Wind, who learned to make himself indispensable in ways beyond the bedroom. He kept the accounts, managed the household, made himself too useful to discard. He earned his freedom at 21, owns a tea shop now. But you won't last 5 years. The tremors are getting worse. You can barely hold a wine cup steady. Your writing looks like a child's. Your music sounds broken. Minister Wu complains constantly about your deterioration, as if it's a choice you're making. He increases the mercury again, thinking that will restore your youth. It just accelerates the decline. You're dying faster now, visibly, obviously. Everyone can see it. Nobody mentions it. General Mao is your constant companion now. He follows you between buildings, sits with you during meals, sleeps on your bed every night. His presence is the only consistent thing in your life. When Minister Wu is particularly cruel, General Mao appears with dead things. A rat in the minister's shoe, a bird in his breakfast rice, small revenges that can't be traced to you. The minister hates the cat, but can't catch him. General Mao is too smart, too experienced. He's been doing this longer than you've been alive. Year 3 brings a surprise. Minister Wu has a stroke. Not fatal, but significant. His left side doesn't work properly. His speech slurs. His mind, already failing, breaks further. He can't remember your name at all now. Can't remember what you're for. Sometimes he thinks you're his son. Sometimes a servant. Sometimes a demon sent to torment him. The last one is closest to true, from his perspective. His wife takes over the household management. She could dismiss you, but that would require acknowledging you exist. Instead, she leaves you in limbo. You still live in the pavilion, still receive meals, still apply makeup daily because nobody told you to stop, but nobody summons you. You exist in a space between service and abandonment, waiting for something, but you don't know what. Old Chun the gardener starts teaching you about plants. Not directly. He still won't speak to you, but he works when you're watching and explains things to the air. This mushroom, very dangerous, causes sleep that doesn't end. This flower, beautiful, but the sap burns skin. This root, if prepared correctly, stops the heart quickly. He's not suggesting anything, just sharing knowledge. Gardens are dangerous if you don't know what you're touching. You spend days in the garden now, learning without being taught. Which plants bloom at night? Which ones attract certain insects? Which ones smell sweet but taste bitter? Which ones look poisonous but aren't? Which ones look harmless but aren't? Old Chun never acknowledges you're listening, but he makes sure you can hear every word. Sometimes he leaves plants where you'll find them. For educational purposes only, your parents write once. The letter has been opened, read, resealed. They say the harvest was good. Your sister had a baby. Your brother married the blacksmith's daughter. They hope you're bringing honor to the family. They don't ask about your health or happiness. They know better than to ask questions that can't be answered. You write back, lying about everything. Yes, you're honored to serve. Yes, the minister is kind. Yes, you're learning valuable skills. The letter is confiscated before sending. Too many yes answers suggest sarcasm. Minister Wu rallies occasionally. The stroke didn't kill his cruelty, just changed its expression. He can't hit with his left hand anymore, but his right still works. He can't chase you, but he can throw things. He can't speak clearly, but he can still scream. During these episodes, his wife ensures you're summoned. She wants you to suffer for existing in her house. She watches sometimes from doorways as her husband fails to assault you properly. Her face shows nothing, but you know she's satisfied. You're both being punished. General Mao gets bolder. He doesn't just watch anymore. When Minister Wu is being particularly violent, the cat attacks. Nothing major. A scratch on the ankle, a bite on the hand, but enough to disrupt. The minister tries to have the cat killed, but General Mao disappears when the servants come looking, reappears when they give up. He's survived 5 concubines and 3 ministers. He'll survive this one too. You've been here 4 years when Minister Wu dies. Winter morning, frost on the windows. A servant finds him cold in his bed, face purple, foam on his lips. Could be natural causes. Could be the medicine finally overwhelming his heart. Could be something else. Nobody investigates too carefully. His wife has been waiting for this for 30 years. She's prepared. Within hours, she's giving orders. The household transforms. Bright colors replace the drab. Windows open that have been closed for decades. Laughter is allowed in the main house, and you're told to pack your things. Not dismissed, that would be too kind. Sold to a merchant who deals in damaged goods. 3 taels, less than the cost of your robes. Your contract transfers to him. 17 more years officially owed, but everyone knows you won't last 17 more months. The merchant's name is Fat Su, and he doesn't want you for pleasure. He wants you for your education. Despite everything, you can still read, write, do mathematics. His business requires documentation that looks official but isn't. You write contracts for things that shouldn't have contracts. Keep books that track nothing real. The work is illegal, but you're already dying, so what's the risk? You move to rooms above his warehouse. It leaks when it rains. Rats live in the walls. But there's no makeup, no silk robes, no trembling hands on your body. You wear cotton. Eat simple food. Sleep without fear. Your hair starts growing back, patchy and gray, though you're only 17. The tremors remain, but you learn to write around them. Fat Su doesn't care if the writing is shaky, as long as the numbers add up. General Mao finds you within a week. He's ancient now, movement slower, but still deliberate. He claims the best spot in your room, a patch of sunlight by the window. You share your rice with him. He purrs, a sound like grinding stones. Sometimes he brings you things, not dead animals anymore, but small treasures. A button, a piece of ribbon, a ceramic shard. You keep them all. They're gifts from the only friend you've ever had. Fat Su's business exists in legal gray spaces. He imports things that aren't technically illegal, but aren't technically legal either. Medicines that might be poison, powders that might be flour, or might be something else. Books that contain information the government prefers people not know. Your job is making it all look legitimate on paper. You're good at it. Years of pretending taught you how to make lies look like truth. The other workers initially avoid you. They know what you were. The gray gums and trembling hands give it away. But eventually, they realize you're just another broken person trying to exist. The dock workers share their lunch sometimes. The guards nod when you pass. You're not friends, but you're not nothing, which is more than you've had in years. The work is actually pleasant. Numbers don't judge. Contracts don't have hands. Ledgers don't smell like rotting teeth. You sit at a desk from dawn to dusk, writing lies that keep Fat Su out of prison. He pays you enough to eat, provides a roof that mostly doesn't leak, doesn't care what you do when the work is done. After 4 years of being watched constantly, this privacy feels like wealth. General Mao gets sick that winter. He's old, maybe 18, maybe 20. Nobody really knows. He stops eating even the good fish you buy with saved coins. His breathing becomes labored. You carry him to your bed, make a nest with your only warm blanket. He allows this, too tired to maintain his dignity. You stay awake watching him breathe, counting the spaces between breaths as they get longer. A veterinarian would cost more than you have. Human doctors won't look at animals. So you do what you can with knowledge from old Chun's garden lessons. Small doses of poppy for pain, willow bark tea for fever, gentle pressure on his throat to help him swallow water. It's not enough, but it's something. General Mao purrs when he's conscious. A thank you or a goodbye, probably both. He dies on a Tuesday morning, your hand on his side, feeling his breathing stop. You wrap him in the good blanket, the one you'll freeze without. Fat Su lets you bury him behind the warehouse, where there's a patch of dirt that might have been a garden once. You mark the spot with a broken roof tile. That night you cry for the first time in 4 years. Not for yourself, but for a cat who pissed in shoes and brought dead things and sat with you through the worst nights of your life. Spring brings trouble. Fat Su owes money to the wrong people. The kind of people who collect debts in blood and bones. He tries to run, but they catch him. You hear rather than see what happens. It takes 3 hours. When it's over, they search the warehouse, taking anything valuable. They find you hiding in the document storage. One looks at your gray gums, your trembling hands, says you're not worth the effort. They leave you with the corpse and burning building. You take what you can carry, some silver fat sous hid in the floorboards, the contracts that would incriminate half the city's merchants if anyone cared, your few possessions including General Mao's gifts, the button, the ribbon, the ceramic shard. Useless things that matter because they were given freely. You walk out of the city before the fire spreads, before questions get asked, before anyone notices another broken concubine disappearing into nowhere. The roads are dangerous for someone like you. Bandits, soldiers, desperate travelers. Any of them would see you as victim or commodity. But you look so obviously dying that most assume you have something contagious. The gray gums, the shaking, the patchy hair. You look like plague walking. It keeps you safer than weapons would. Nobody wants what you might be carrying in your blood. You find work in a river town, copying documents for a magistrate who can't see well enough to write anymore. He doesn't ask about your past. Your shaking hands and gray gums tell him everything he needs to know. He pays barely enough for food and a space in the stable, but it's work you can do. The horses don't care that you were once worth 47 taels. They just want their hay. 6 months pass, your tremors worsen. Writing becomes impossible some days. The magistrate reduces your pay accordingly. You eat less. Sleep in colder corners of the stable. Your body is shutting down system by system. 20 years old and dying like an old man. The mercury has eaten holes in your brain. Sometimes you forget where you are. Think you're back in the pavilion. Start applying makeup that isn't there to a face that doesn't matter anymore. A traveling medicine seller passes through town. He sees your symptoms, offers to sell you a cure. You laugh, which becomes coughing, which becomes blood on your sleeve. There's no cure for mercury and lead, not after years of poisoning. He offers poppy extract instead, for the pain that must be constant. You trade General Mao's button for a small vial. It helps. Not with pain, but with caring about pain. A magistrate dies in autumn. His son inherits the position. Doesn't need a trembling secretary. You're dismissed with no payment. Just told to leave before the new magistrate arrives. You walk because there's nothing else to do. South, following the river, because water leads somewhere even if you don't know where. Your legs give out after 3 days. You crawl after that. Then you stop crawling. A monk finds you. Older than you thought people could get, with a face like dried leather and eyes that have seen everything twice. He doesn't ask if you want help. He just helps, lifting you onto his donkey, taking you to a temple in the mountains you didn't know existed. The other monks don't question a dying boy appearing in their midst. They see a lot of dying boys. The wars, the famines, the ordinary cruelties. They all lead here eventually. They give you a corner room barely bigger than a closet. A mat on the floor. A blanket that smells like someone else died in it. Rice twice a day. Tea that helps with the shaking. They don't ask you to work. Don't ask for payment. Don't ask for anything. You exist in their space without owing existence. It's the first time in 6 years you've been somewhere without a contract defining your worth. You try to be useful anyway. Your hands shake too much for writing, but you can still read. You read sutras to the illiterate monks, the ones who came here as children and learned prayer, but not letters. Your voice is ruined, cracking and wheezing, but they don't care. The words matter, not the voice. You read the same prayers hundreds of times. Peace, suffering, impermanence. The repetition soothes something in you that you didn't know needed soothing. Let's be clear about what dying from mercury poisoning feels like. Your bones hurt constantly, deep aching that no position relieves. Your teeth fall out one by one, no blood, just loose and then gone. Your vision doubles, triples, becomes a kaleidoscope of overlapping images. Your hands shake so violently that holding anything becomes impossible. Your mind fractures, past and present mixing, conversations with dead people seeming real. You shake blood. You piss blood. You cough blood. Everything that comes out of you carries the poison that's killing you. But the monks don't turn away. They've seen worse. They bring clean cloths for the blood, help you to the latrine when your legs don't work, feed you when your hands can't hold bowls. Not from kindness exactly, but from duty. This is what they do. They tend the dying. You're just another dying thing in a world full of dying things. There's no judgment in their care, no pity either. Just practical maintenance of a body shutting down. One monk, younger than the others, maybe 30, tells you about his brother. Also a concubine, sold at 13 to a merchant in the capital. The brother lasted 2 years before drinking poison tea. Not the slow mercury kind, but the fast kind that stops your heart in minutes. The family received a bill for the damaged property. This monk came to the temple the next day, has been here 12 years. He says the prayers for the dead include his brother, include all the boys and girls who are property, include you even though you're still breathing. You're already part of the ritual. Winter in the mountains is brutal. The cold makes your poisoned bones feel like they're shattering. You can't generate enough body heat anymore. Your blood is too thin, too poisoned. The monks pile every spare blanket on you, but cold comes from inside now. You shake from mercury and temperature both. Sometimes you can't tell which tremor is which. Does it matter? Shaking is shaking. You dream about General Mao. He's young in the dreams, fat and orange, and unimpressed with everything. He brings you mice that turn into buttons, that turn into your mother's tears. He purrs, and the sound becomes thunder, becomes silence. You wake up expecting to see him, but there's just stone walls and your own rattling breath. You miss a cat more than you miss your family. The cat chose to be with you. Your family chose to sell you. The head monk comes to see you on a day when you can't get up. He doesn't speak, just sits beside your mat, prayer beads clicking through his fingers. His presence is neither comforting nor uncomfortable. He's just there, the way stones are there. After an hour, he says the temple will handle your remains. No family obligation, no debt transferred. Your ashes will feed the garden. You try to thank him, but words don't come out right anymore. He seems to understand anyway. You last longer than anyone expects. Through winter into spring, your body, trained for endurance in the worst ways, refuses to stop. Even poisoned, even broken, even with systems failing daily, you continue. The monks find this neither inspiring nor tragic. Bodies do what bodies do. Some die fast. Some die slow. You're dying slow. That's all. A letter arrives for you. Nobody knows how anyone knew you were here. It's from Little Sparrow. You remember him. The boy who replaced you at Minister Wu's house after Little Pearl died. He's 20 now, free, earned his release early through clever accounting that saved his new master thousands. He owns a silk shop. He married a merchant's daughter. He has a son. He remembers you teaching him which plants were medicine and which were poison. He wanted you to know someone remembered. The letter is the first thing addressed to you, not your owner, in 7 years. You try to write back, but your hands won't cooperate. The young monk offers to write for you. You dictate 3 sentences. I remember General Mao. He was fat and orange. He judged everyone. The monk doesn't question why your only message is about a cat. He writes exactly what you say, sends it to the silk shop address. Little Sparrow will understand, or he won't. Either way, someone will know General Mao was important. The end comes in summer. Your body stops processing food. Everything you eat comes back up. The monks switch to just water and just wet cloths on your lips. You're conscious, but somewhere else, having conversations with people who aren't there. Your mother apologizes for selling you. Master Liu teaches you a poem that doesn't exist. General Mao explains the secret to catching mice. None of it's real, but all of it feels true. On your last coherent day, you ask the young monk about the garden. Which plants grow best in ash soil? He says everything grows better in ash soil. The dead feed the living. It's the only transaction that's always fair. You want to say something profound about that, but your mouth won't make words anymore. You just nod. He understands. The dead feed the living. He'll feed vegetables. The vegetables will feed monks. The monks will pray for boys like you. It's not meaning, but it's not nothing. You die on a Thursday. Dawn just as the morning bell rings. The young monk is with you, has been all night. Your last breath is so quiet, he almost misses it. Just a small release, like setting down something heavy you've carried too long. He closes your eyes, which had been looking at something nobody else could see. Probably General Mao, come to guide you wherever cats think people should go. They burn your body that afternoon. No ceremony beyond the standard prayers. Your possessions, the ribbon, the ceramic shard, the contract you kept for reasons you couldn't explain, burn with you. The smoke is black from all the poison in your tissues. It smells wrong. The monks stand upwind. By evening, you're ash and small bone fragments. They scatter you in the vegetable garden as promised. The turnips will grow huge next year. Little Sparrow receives word of your death 6 months later. He's successful now, wealthy even. He keeps a cat in his shop, orange and fat and judgmental. He names it General. When he tells his son about you, he doesn't mention the rape or the poisoning or the slow death. Just that you were kind to a dying cat once. That kindness matters. His son grows up believing this. It changes small things in how he sees the world. In the capital, the training house still operates. Master Liu is long dead. The new master is harder, less patient. Boys still arrive at 12, 13, 14. Still sold by desperate families. Still trained in the same arts. Still poisoned with the same tea. Still destroyed by the same men. General Mao's great-great-great-grandson lives there, fat and orange and completely unimpressed. He pisses in shoes and brings dead things and judges everyone. The boys think he's just a cat. They don't know he's teaching them about power. Your parents died not knowing what happened to you. They told neighbors you became a scholar in the capital. The lie grew with each telling. You became an advisor to ministers. You became wealthy. You sent money home, but it was stolen by bandits. You died heroically saving your master from assassins. The story they built was better than your reality. Let them have it. The dead don't need truth. Meanwhile, in the mountain temple, the turnips grow absurdly large. The monks joke about it. Must be especially good soil. They make soup that feeds 30 people from a single turnip. It tastes slightly bitter, slightly sweet, like medicine, like poison, like a life that was worth 47 taels once and nothing at the end, and somehow both valuations were wrong. The young monk who sat with you still prays for concubines, all of them, the ones dying now in their jade pavilions, the ones learning to pour wine while their organs fail, the ones standing on auction platforms believing the next owner will be different. He prays knowing prayer changes nothing. But someone should remember. Someone should acknowledge. Someone should say their names, even if their names were never really theirs. The training house has expanded. 3 buildings now instead of 1. They process 50 boys a year instead of 12. The economics improved when they started buying younger, training longer, charging more. 8-year-olds cost less than 14-year-olds. They're easier to shape, easier to break, easier to convince this is normal. By the time they're sellable at 14, they don't remember being anything else. The new master is a woman who never served. She inherited the business from her uncle, sees it purely as numbers. Boys cost this much, training costs that much, sales bring this much. The profit margin is 17% if you don't count the ones who die during training. 23% if you factor in the special tea that ensures they die after sale, not before. She's very good at math. General Mao's descendant, let's call him General the Seventh, though nobody's really counting, has developed new strategies. He doesn't just piss in shoes anymore. He's learned to knock over inkwells at crucial moments, ruining contracts that would send boys to the worst buyers. He screams at 3 a.m, waking everyone, ruining the sleep deprivation training. He brings live birds into the classroom, causing chaos during lessons. The trainers think he's a menace. The boys know he's resistance. In the capital's greatest mansion, Minister Zhang keeps 4 boys, not sequentially, but simultaneously. Different ages, different skills, different purposes. The youngest pours wine. The oldest manages accounts. The middle 2 exist for what happens after wine. He feeds them the mercury tea in front of each other, makes it a ceremony. Watch what you're becoming, he tells them. Watch what I'm doing to you. They watch, they know. They drink it anyway. One of these boys, named Winter Moon, though that's not his real name, nobody uses real names here, has started coughing blood. He's 15, been serving 3 years, probably has 6 months left. He knows about you. Not you specifically, but boys like you. Every house has stories about the ones before. You become cautionary tales, ghosts that haunt silk sheets. Winter Moon knows he'll be a ghost soon. He's started writing down names. Every boy he knows who died in service. The list is getting long. The house where Minister Wu poisoned you has been sold twice. The Jade Pavilion was torn down, rebuilt, torn down again. Now it's a storage building for rice. Rats live there. Sometimes workers report strange sounds, like someone playing a chin badly, like someone coughing, like a cat yowling. The owner burns incense to appease whatever haunts it. You don't haunt it. You're vegetable fertilizer. But stories need ghosts, so you become one. Let's talk about the economics, because that's what you were, economics. A boy costs between 3 and 10 taels at age 8. Training for 6 years costs another 15. Mercury and lead for those 6 years, 2 taels. Medical inspections, 1 tael. Food, clothes, shelter, 5 taels. Total investment, 26 taels minimal. Sale price for a properly trained 14-year-old, 40 to 60 taels. Profit, 14 to 34 taels per boy, times 50 boys per year. The math is simple. Your suffering was good business. The treaties with the northern kingdoms include provisions for tribute. Gold, silk, grain, and boys. Specific types of boys. Young, trained, poisoned to ensure they won't last long enough to gain influence. The kingdoms don't want concubines who might become advisors. They want decorations that die on schedule. The emperor agrees to these terms. 500 boys per year, selected from training houses like yours. Shipped north where it's colder and they die faster. In the merchant district, Little Sparrow has become Big Sparrow, then Old Sparrow. His silk shop is now 3 shops. His son manages 2 of them. His grandson, age 7, plays in the storeroom with an orange cat. Old Sparrow watches them, remembers you watching General Mao. He tells his grandson about kindness, about sharing food with dying cats. The grandson doesn't understand why this matters. He will when he's older. Or he won't. Either way, the story continues. The monks at the mountain temple have noticed the turnips aren't growing as large anymore. It's been 8 years since you fed them. Your minerals have been absorbed, processed, dispersed. You're part of 1,000 meals now, part of the monks who ate them, part of their shit that fertilized other gardens. This is immortality, not consciousness, but continuity. Your mercury probably killed some worms. Your lead probably stunted some growth. Even in death, you're poison. A new law passes. Concubines must be registered. Contracts must be approved by magistrates. Owners must report deaths within 3 days. The law isn't about protecting boys like you. It's about taxes. Every transaction needs documentation, fees, official seals. Your suffering is now bureaucratic. Forms in triplicate. Official stamps. Proper channels. The same poisoning, but with paperwork. In the training house, a boy named River has caught General the Seventh's attention. River is 10, been here 2 years, still believes he'll go home someday. General the Seventh knows better. The cat starts sleeping on River's bed, purring aggressively, claiming him. River thinks this means something good. It doesn't. It means General has identified who needs the most help surviving. The cat can smell desperation. It smells like future corpses. The doctor who examines the boys has developed improvements to the mercury tea. Adding arsenic makes it work faster. Adding certain mushrooms makes the boys more compliant. Adding ground pearls makes their skin shimmer while it kills them. He publishes papers on his findings. Other doctors cite his work. He wins awards for innovation in chemical management. Nobody mentions that the chemicals are managing children. Your sister's daughter is 12 now. The same age you were when the merchant came. The family has more money now. Her husband does carpentry in the city. But there's a drought. The taxes are high. The merchant who buys boys has visited twice, evaluating. He says she has good bones, delicate features, worth maybe 8 taels. Your sister remembers your face the day you left. She hides her daughter when the merchant comes now. Some lessons are learned through blood. At night in the training houses, boys whisper stories. About the one who escaped and became a general. About the one who poisoned his master and got away with it. About the one who learned magic and turned into a bird. None of the stories are true. You all die badly, slowly, young. But the stories are necessary. Hope, even false hope, makes the training bearable. Makes the tea go down easier. Makes tomorrow possible. General the Seventh has identified the new merchant who supplies the mercury. The man stores his goods in a warehouse near the docks. The cat has been visiting at night, pissing on specific crates. The merchant can't figure out why his mercury shipments smell so bad. Buyers are complaining. Some are switching suppliers. It's a small rebellion, but it's something. The cat is very pleased with himself. The government has started requiring medical examinations for registered concubines. Not to protect them, but to protect buyers. Too many ministers have been sold dying boys, getting only months of service from what should be years. The examinations document exactly how poisoned each boy is, estimate remaining functional time, adjust prices accordingly. Your livestock with expiration dates now. The documentation is very thorough. In the northern kingdoms where tribute boys are sent, winter kills them faster than mercury. They're dressed in silk while serving. Silk doesn't hold heat. They freeze from the outside, while poisoning from the inside. The kingdoms consider this efficient. Dead boys can't carry tailies home, can't become spies, can't develop influence. They arrive in autumn, die by spring, get replaced with fresh tributes. The cycle is very reliable. River in the training house has started showing signs. His voice is changing despite the tea. Hair appearing where it shouldn't. Shoulders broadening. He's 13. Biology is winning. They increase his dosage. He faints during music lessons. They increase it more. He starts seeing things that aren't there. Sometimes he talks to invisible cats. General the Seventh sits with him during these episodes, purring, being the only real thing in a world of hallucinations. Old Sparrow is dying. Probably 70, though nobody's sure. Concubines don't track birthdays well. He's leaving everything to his grandson, including stories about you, about General Mao, about kindness mattering. The grandson is 18 now, thinks the stories are sentimental nonsense, but he keeps the orange cat in the shop. Names the new kitten's general. Maintains traditions he doesn't understand. Sometimes that's enough. The training house has a rebellion. 12 boys refuse the tea simultaneously. They've been planning for months. Think solidarity will protect them. The master has them beaten, but not too badly. Bruises lower value. Then she has their families arrested for breach of contract. The boys drink the tea while their mothers are held in cells. The rebellion ends. The families are released. The boys have learned about leverage. The master has taught them well. In your home village, nobody remembers you specifically. You're just part of the story now. The generations of children sold to survive. The merchant still comes every harvest. Parents still make calculations. Is this child worth more as labor or currency? The math hasn't changed. 3 bad harvests and children become commodities. Your mother's grave is unmarked. Your father's too. Your childhood home is rubble. But the merchant's cart still follows the same road you traveled. Winter Moon from Minister Zhang's house died last night, drowned in his own blood, lungs full of mercury foam. He was 16. His list of dead boys had 300 names. The minister is annoyed. Winter Moon was his favorite. Now he needs a replacement. The training houses are notified. Fresh inventory required. Specific requirements: 14 or younger, voice unbroken, flexible, literate. The same specifications as always. The same boy, replaced endlessly. General the Seventh is training his successor. A small orange female, barely weaned, already showing the family attitude. She pisses with remarkable accuracy. Her aim is improving daily. The training house boys have named her princess. General the Seventh is teaching her which shoes belong to which trainers, which boys need the most support, where to hide when the beatings start. She's learning. The resistance continues. The mountain temple where you died has become famous for its vegetables. Pilgrims come specifically for the turnip soup. They say it has healing properties. It doesn't. It's just soup. But the reputation brings donations. The donations support the temple. The temple helps more dying boys. Your death has become economically productive. Even your corpse generates value. The system wastes nothing. A scholar is writing a history of the dynasty. He includes a chapter on administrative efficiency, praising ministers like Wu and Zhang for their stable governance. There's a footnote about household expenses, mentioning the cost of maintaining concubines. You're in that footnote, not by name but as a number. Average cost per year. Average years of service. It's the only historical record you'll ever be in. A statistic in a footnote in a chapter no one will read. The merchant who originally bought you has retired. His son runs the business now. More efficient, less sentimental. He's developed a scoring system. Facial symmetry, 10 points. Voice quality, 10 points. Flexibility, 10 points. Likelihood of surviving training, 20 points. Family desperation, 50 points. The scoring system removes emotion from the process, makes it clean, professional. Your suffering has been optimized. River didn't make it to auction. Died during training, Organs failed from the new improved mercury formula. The training house charges his family for disposal costs. The cremation, the documentation, the lost investment. His parents sell their second son to cover the debt. The cycle is perfect, self-sustaining. Every death creates another sale. General the Seventh pissed in the master's tea. She drank it anyway. Nobody tells the master what to do. In the capital, there's a new fashion. Buyers want younger boys, more delicate, more feminine. The training houses adjust. 8-year-olds are becoming 7-year-olds. The mercury doses start earlier. The death rate increases, but so do the profits. Younger boys cost less initially, die faster, get replaced more frequently. The turnover is excellent for business. Your 47 tails would buy 3 boys now. The doctor who invented the improved mercury formula has been awarded a government position, Minister of Chemical Innovation. He's developing new applications. Mercury for criminals to ensure they die before trial. Mercury for women who talk too much. Mercury for children who show defiance. He's very proud of his work. Sees it as serving society. Removing undesirable elements. Making things clean. Old Sparrow died yesterday. His grandson found him in the silk shop, slumped over the ledgers, pen still in hand. He'd been writing your name. Not your name exactly. He never knew your real name. Just the boy who fed the cat. Over and over. The same phrase. The boy who fed the cat. The boy who fed the cat. Dementia, probably. Or maybe just the only thing worth remembering at the end. The grandson doesn't understand why his grandfather cared so much about some nameless dying boy and a cat. But he performs the funeral rites properly, burns the incense, says the prayers. The orange cat in the shop watches the ceremony, judges it adequate, goes back to sleep. 3 days later, the cat brings the grandson a dead mouse. First time it's ever brought him anything. He understands this is significant, but not why. Back in the training house, the new batch has arrived. 43 boys this season, ages 7 to 12. Parents paid, contracts signed, training begun. They're learning to walk, to pour, to sing, to die slowly. General the Seventh and Princess watch from high shelves, choosing who to help, who to comfort, who to piss on. The trainers think they run this place. The cats know better. Your bones are completely dissolved now. 9 years in acidic soil breaks down calcium. You're literally part of the mountain. Minerals in the groundwater. Trace elements in the vegetables. Microscopic pieces in everything that grows there. The monks eat you daily without knowing. You sustain them in the smallest way. It's not redemption, but it's not nothing. It's just chemistry. The war everyone expected has started. The northern kingdoms want more than tribute boys now. They want territory, resources, submission. The emperor needs soldiers. Where do you find expendable soldiers? The training houses are conscripted. Boys who would have been concubines become arrow fodder. They die faster in war than from mercury. Some consider this merciful. The cats don't go to war. They stay in the training houses, waiting for the next batch. In Minister Zhang's house, the new boy is named Autumn Wind. He's 11. He's already coughing. The improved mercury works so much faster now. He might last a year, maybe 18 months if he's strong. He plays the flute beautifully. It makes the minister weep, though he doesn't know why. Something about the sound. Like loss. Like endings. Like boys dying while playing music. The minister increases the mercury dose. Wants the boys suffering to be beautiful. The training house, where you learn to die slowly, has a new addition. A medical wing, where boys who react badly to mercury can be stabilized. Not healed. That would defeat the purpose. Just kept functional enough to complete training and sail. The doctor in charge used to work on prisoners. He knows exactly how much poison a body can take while still performing. He's written a manual. Other training houses buy copies. Princess has taken over most of General the Seventh's duties. He's old now, maybe 13, ancient for a street cat who fights and lives hard. He mostly sleeps, occasionally rousing to piss in particularly important shoes. Princess has recruited 2 younger cats, both orange, both male, both learning the trade. They practice on the newer trainers. Haven't graduated to pissing on the master yet. That requires years of experience. In the merchant district, Old Sparrow's grandson runs the silk shops. Business is good. He keeps an orange cat, doesn't know why. Family tradition. The cat brings him things sometimes. Buttons, ribbons, dead mice. He accepts them, says thank you. Feels ridiculous thanking a cat. Does it anyway? Some patterns continue without understanding. A new boy arrives at the training house, 7 years old. His name doesn't matter anymore. It's not his. His parents needed money for medicine for his sister. Should die anyway. The medicine is fake, but hope makes people do terrible things. The boy doesn't cry. He's too young to understand what's been done to him. He will. The Mercury tea starts tomorrow. General the Seventh watches from his perch. Another one to fail at saving. The mountain temple still makes turnip soup. The vegetables are normal-sized now. You've been completely absorbed, processed, dispersed into the ecosystem. But sometimes, when the light is right, the young monks think they see an orange cat in the garden. There's never been a cat at the temple. When they look directly, it's gone. General Mao never lived here. But stories need ghosts, and ghosts need stories. Your sister's daughter wasn't sold. Her mother hid her successfully, married her to a potter's son at 15. She has children now. Sometimes she tells them about their uncle, who went to serve a great lord. She doesn't know the truth. The story she tells is better. In her version, you're still alive, successful, sending money that gets stolen by bandits. Her children believe her. Lies become family history. The training houses are developing new techniques. Virtual reality training, where boys learn to serve without physical contact. Chemical treatments that preserve youth without mercury. Genetic screening to identify which boys will respond best to which poisons. The technology changes, but the purpose doesn't. Beautiful boys still die on schedule. The future is just more efficient suffering. Let's be clear about what continues. Right now, tonight, while you're listening to this, somewhere a boy is drinking his first cup of mercury tea. It tastes like dirt and metal and the end of childhood. Somewhere else, a boy is dying from his last cup, organs shutting down in a specific sequence the doctors have documented thoroughly. Somewhere, parents are counting coins and looking at their smallest son. Somewhere, a minister is writing poetry about beauty while beauty dies in his bed. The system perfects itself. Every inefficiency identified and corrected. Boys who would have lasted 4 years now last exactly 2. Boys who would have died messily now die quietly. Boys who would have resisted now comply. The machine learns, adapts, optimizes. Your suffering was version 1.0. Current suffering is version 47.3. Much more user-friendly. General the Seventh died last week. Quietly, in his sleep, in a patch of sunlight. The boys found him in the morning, still and cold. They buried him in the courtyard where he used to sun himself. Princess watched the burial, then immediately pissed on the master's shoes. The tradition continues. The master had those shoes burned. She bought new ones. Princess pissed on those too. The war has reached the capital. The training houses are emptied. Boys conscripted or fled. Princess and her 2 assistants occupy an abandoned building. They hunt rats, Sometimes escaped boys hide there. The cats don't report them. Why would they? Cats don't serve human laws. The boys usually die anyway. Mercury poisoning doesn't stop just because you run. But they die free. That's something. In the ruins of a burned warehouse, under a collapsed beam, future archaeologists will find a roof tile marked with scratches. They won't know it marks where an orange cat was buried by a dying boy who loved him. They'll catalog it as ritual object, purpose unknown. It will sit in a museum storage room forever. Nobody will ever connect it to General Mao. Some graves don't need remembering. The young monk who wrote your letter to Little Sparrow has become head monk. He still prays for boys like you. He's expanded the garden where ashes are scattered, planted fruit trees, built a small shrine, not for the dead specifically, but for the unnamed. Those who died as property, those whose names were sold with their bodies. The shrine has no inscription. The dead don't need words. Winter Moon's list of dead boys was found after his death. 312 names. Someone added it to the Imperial Archives, filed under Household Expenses, Miscellaneous. A historian will find it in 200 years. Wonder what it means. Write a paper that nobody will read. The names will be transcribed incorrectly. Your name, number 301, will be recorded as Spring River. You are never Spring River. But does it matter? All dead boys become the same story eventually. The merchant who buys boys has expanded his business. He has a fleet of carts now, travels 5 provinces. He's developed relationships with desperate villages, knows which families have children to spare. He offers payment plans. Take half now, half when the boy completes training. Most families never see the second half. Their boys don't complete training. They die during it. The merchant keeps excellent records. He knows the exact mortality rate per district. Little Sparrow's grandson understands now. Not the full story, but enough. The orange cat in his shop has started bringing him things. Dead mice, yes, but also buttons, ribbons, small treasures. He saves them all in a box marked General Mao's Gifts. He doesn't know why they matter, but he knows they do. When his son asks about them, he'll say they're from a cat who knew a boy who was kind once. That's all. That's enough. The new training house master has innovated. She's added classes in accounting, medicine, and law. Not to free the boys, but to make them more valuable. A concubine who can manage estate finances is worth more than one who just pours wine. A concubine who can provide basic medical care saves the cost of doctors. A concubine who understands contracts can't claim ignorance of terms. Education as another form of control. In the northern kingdoms, the tribute boys have organized. Not rebellion exactly. They still serve, still die on schedule. But they share information. Which masters are survivable? Which medicines help with mercury poisoning? Which plants in which gardens offer quick deaths? It's not much, but it's something. They mark safe houses with cat scratches on door frames. They don't know why cats. It just feels right. The improved mercury formula has an unexpected side effect. Boys who survive past 18 sometimes develop abilities. Enhanced hearing, night vision, ability to detect poisons by smell. The government is interested. They're developing a program. Concubines who survive to 20 become spies. Their poisoned bodies are assets now. Their trembling hands can pick locks. Their clouded eyes see in darkness. Their dying brains process information differently. Your suffering has applications. Princess has had kittens, all orange, all male, all born knowing that shoes need pissing in and boys need comfort. She's teaching them the old ways. Which boys smell like death? Which trainers deserve dead mice in their meds? Where to hide when the screaming starts? The kittens are learning. One shows particular promise. He pisses with remarkable accuracy for something so small. Your story has become legend in the training houses. Not accurate legend. You've become 3 different boys who died 5 different ways. But the core remains. A boy who fed a cat who remembered. That's what survives. Not your name, not your face, not your specific suffering. Just the fact that kindness happened in a place designed to prevent it. The Mountain Temple's garden has expanded. They grow vegetables to feed 100 monks now. The soil is rich, dark, full of minerals from 1,000 cremated bodies. You're so diluted, now you're basically homeopathic. A few molecules per acre. But the monks still tell stories about the boy who wrote sutras with shaking hands, who died looking at something nobody else could see, who asked about plants that grow in ash. Autumn wind in Minister Zhang's house has started a new list. Dead boys he's known. He's up to 50 names, and he's only been there 6 months. The list is hidden in his mattress. When he dies, the servants will find it, burn it, pretend it never existed. But for now, he writes names every night. It's the only rebellion available. Remembering, recording, refusing to let them disappear completely. The economics have shifted. Climate change has created more desperate families. Wars have increased demand for expendable boys. The profit margins have tripled. What cost 47 taels in your time now costs 15. Volume makes up for lower prices. The system adapts to market conditions. Supply meets demand. The invisible hand of the market is covered in children's blood, but nobody mentions that in economics classes. Think again if you believe this ends. It doesn't end. It evolves. Paper contracts become digital. Mercury tea becomes targeted gene therapy. Training houses become academies. Concubines become companions. The words change. The reality doesn't. Beautiful children still disappear into wealthy houses, still die on schedule, still get replaced by the next shipment. But through it all, orange cats watch, judge. Piss in expensive shoes. Bring dead things as gifts. They're the only honest creatures in this whole machine. They don't pretend the suffering has meaning. They just observe it with yellow eyes that have seen everything and remain unimpressed. General Mao would be proud. His descendants continue his work. The government has commissioned a study on the long-term effects of mercury poisoning in former concubines. Not to help them, they're mostly dead, but to better calibrate dosages for current boys. They want maximum beauty preservation with minimum visible deterioration. The sweet spot, they call it. That place where boys stay pretty while dying invisibly. Your death contributed data points. Your trembling hands helped establish baseline metrics. In a forgotten archive, someone finds a receipt. 47 taels for one boy, aged 14, literate, musical. The historian studying it doesn't recognize what it is. Thinks it's about actual cattle. Writes a paper on livestock prices in the Tang Dynasty. You become a footnote in agricultural history. Nobody realizes the livestock had a name once, had parents, had a cat who loved him. Princess is getting old now. 8 years of watching boys die. 8 years of pissing in trainer shoes. 8 years of small resistances that change nothing but still matter. She's trained her successors well. 3 orange males who've learned the traditional ways. They take turns sleeping on the beds of the most desperate boys. They bring dead mice to the cruelest trainers. They maintain the standards General Mao established. The training house has added a new course, Psychology of Servitude. Boys learn to recognize their owner's mental states, predict mood swings, manage emotional crisis. They study case files of previous concubines. Your file is in there, though your name has been changed to protect somebody, not clear who. Your case study number 47. The boy who lasted 4 years with a deteriorating owner. A success story, technically. In the silk shop, Little Sparrow's great-grandson has found the box of cat gifts. Buttons, ribbons, ceramic shards. He doesn't know what they mean. His father doesn't know either. The story has been lost, but they keep the box anyway. Label it historical artifacts, origin unknown. The orange cat currently residing in the shop adds a dead spider to the collection. Nobody knows why. The cat knows. That's enough. A new law requires all concubines to be insured. Owners must pay premiums based on the boy's age, health, expected service length. If a boy dies before his contract ends, the insurance pays out. This seems like protection, but it's not. Now owners have financial incentive to work boys to death just before policies expire. Your death would have been worth 10 taels in insurance money. Minister Wu would have timed it perfectly. The mountain temple has become a pilgrimage site, not for religious reasons, but for the vegetables. People believe the soil has healing properties. They buy small bags of dirt, take them home, sprinkle them on their own gardens. You're spreading across the country now, a few molecules at a time. The monks don't mention that the soil is enriched with human ash. Bad for business. Autumn wind didn't make it through winter. The new mercury formula is too efficient. He lasted 8 months, died vomiting blood while playing the flute. Minister Zhang was annoyed. He'd specifically requested 18 months minimum service. The training house offered a discount on the replacement. 20% off for customer inconvenience. The new boy is 10 years old. His name is Summer Rain. He's already showing symptoms. The war has ended. The training houses are rebuilding. The demand for boys has actually increased. War creates widows who become second wives who need gifts to appease them. War creates new wealth that needs displaying. War creates trauma that needs beauty to forget. Your economy was always war economy. Just sometimes the war is quiet and happens in bedrooms instead of battlefields. General VII's grave has become a shrine, not officially, but boys in the training house leave offerings, bits of fish, drops of milk, tears when nobody's watching. They don't pray to him exactly, but they talk to him, tell him about the trainers, about the fear, about the dreams where they fly away. He doesn't answer. He's dead. But Princess always shows up during these conversations. Sits, listens, brings them dead things. It's not comfort exactly, but it's not nothing. Your sister's grandson is 12 now, the same age you were. The family has money now. Her daughter married well. But the boy has those same good bones, that same delicate face. Merchants have started noticing. His mother keeps him inside, cuts his hair short, tells people he's simple-minded, anything to make him less sellable. She doesn't know why she's so afraid. Family memory runs deep. Some fears inherit themselves. The doctor who perfected the mercury formula has published his memoirs, Innovation in Chemical Management, a Life's Work. Chapter 12 describes the breakthrough that reduced life expectancy from 4 years to 2 while maintaining aesthetic quality. He's very proud. Uses graphs, statistics, color photographs of boys at various stages of poisoning. You're not in the book, but your death contributed to the baseline data. You're an unnamed point on a graph labeled optimal toxicity curves. In the ruins of the training house, archaeologists find bottles, hundreds of them, all containing residue of mercury, lead, arsenic. They assume it's a medicine factory. Write papers about ancient Chinese pharmaceutical knowledge. Nobody realizes it's a murder factory, that each bottle represents a boy who drank poison to stay beautiful while dying. The archaeologists win awards for their discovery. The boys stay undiscovered. New technology allows for precise genetic modification. Boys can be designed now. Optimal height, bone structure, voice pitch. The mercury isn't necessary anymore, but they still use it. Tradition, they say. But really, it's about ensuring deaths. Genetically perfect boys might live too long, gain too much influence. The mercury is insurance. Your poisoning has become ritualistic, sacred almost. The suffering is the point now, not a side effect. Princess died yesterday. 10 years old, ancient for a training house cat. She died in her sleep, surrounded by her successors. The boys held a funeral, burned incense, sang songs, told stories about her perfectly aimed piss, her strategic dead mice, her comfort during the worst nights. They buried her next to General the Seventh, the two orange cats who gave a damn in a world that didn't. Their graves are marked with roof tiles. Nobody remembers. That's how you marked General Mao's grave. But the tradition continues. Summer Rain in Minister Zhang's house keeps his own list now. He's added Autumn Wind, Winter Moon, and 40 other names he's collected from servants who remember previous boys. He writes your story too, though he doesn't know your name. Just the boy who fed General Mao. That's how you're remembered in the secret histories. The boy who shared rice with a cat. It's not much of a legacy, but it's more than most get. The training house has been bought by a corporation. Efficiency experts have streamlined the process. Boys are tagged with electronic chips. Their vital signs monitored constantly. Their mercury levels adjusted daily for optimal results. The art of poisoning has become a science. Your amateur suffering has been professionalized. The new boys die exactly on schedule. No messy variations. No inconvenient survivals. A poet writes about beauty and death. Uses the metaphor of flowers that bloom briefly. Never mentions that the flowers are boys. That the brief blooming is mercury poisoning. That the death is scheduled and paid for. The poem wins awards. Gets taught in schools. Students analyze the symbolism. Nobody mentions the reality. You become art without anyone knowing you were real. The orange cats are evolving. Each generation gets better at resistance. Better at knowing which boys need the most help. Better at targeting their piss for maximum disruption. They've developed a network across training houses. Information shared through scent marks and scratches. Which trainers are breakable? Which boys are savable? Which owners might die of natural causes that look very natural? It's not much, but it's more organized than before. In the capital, there's a museum of Tang Dynasty artifacts. One room has contracts, bills of sale for grain, silk, horses, and boys. Your contract might be there, 47 tales, but the names are faded. The curator explains these were standard business documents. Part of the sophisticated economy. Visitors nod, impressed by ancient commerce. Nobody asks if the boys had names. If they had dreams, if they had cats who loved them. Your atoms are everywhere now. In the rain that falls on the mountain. In the rivers that flow to the sea. In the fish that swim in those seas. In the birds that eat those fish. In the cats that catch those birds. You're part of everything and nothing. Dispersed beyond recovery. But somewhere in that dispersal, a few molecules end up in an orange kitten being born in a training house. The kitten opens its eyes, sees boys in silk robes, and knows immediately that shoes need pissing in. The system has globalized. Training houses in 12 countries now. Different languages, same structure. Boys sold, trained, poisoned, discarded. The mercury tea has been replaced by synthetic compounds in some places. Traditional mercury in others. The results are the same. Beautiful boys dying on schedule. The math remains consistent. Investment Return, profit. Your 47 tails would be $200,000 now. Inflation adjusted suffering. Little Sparrow's great-great-grandson doesn't know the family history, doesn't know about you or General Mao or kindness in dark places. But he keeps an orange cat in his tech startup office. The cat judges everyone, pisses in the shoes of abusive managers, brings dead mice to stressed employees. He doesn't know why he keeps the cat. Just feels right. Some traditions transcend understanding. In a boardroom, executives discuss quarterly projections. The training house division shows 15% growth. They're expanding into virtual concubines, boys who exist only in digital space. Can't die from mercury, but can be deleted when obsolete. It's cleaner, more efficient, less evidence. Your physical suffering seems quaint now. Analog, inefficient. The future is digital suffering. Downloadable, deletable, deniable. But in the old training houses, the ones that maintain tradition, orange cats still patrol, still judge, still piss in shoes, still bring comfort to boys drinking poison tea. They don't care about digital innovations. They know what they know. Boys need witnesses. Suffering needs acknowledgement. Shoes need pissing in. Simple truths in a complicated world. The mountain temple garden grows ordinary vegetables now. You're too diluted to matter, but the monks still tell stories. About the boy with shaking hands. About sutras copied despite tremors. About someone who died looking at something invisible. They don't know your name. You're just the trembling writer in their oral history. But every spring when they plant vegetables, they remember that bones feed the soil, that death feeds life, that nothing is wasted, even suffering. Tonight, right now, a boy is being sold. His parents need money. He has good bones. He can read a little. The merchant counts coins. The contract is signed. 20 years of service that everyone knows means 4 years of life. The boy doesn't cry. He's in shock. Tomorrow, he'll start training. Tonight, he's still himself. Tomorrow, he becomes property. Tonight, he's still human. Tomorrow, the mercury starts. And somewhere, definitely, an orange cat is watching, measuring, judging. Which shoes need pissing in? Which boys need dead mice as gifts? Which nights require a warm weight on a cold chest? The cat doesn't know he's carrying on ancient work. Doesn't know about General Mao or you or 47 tails. He just knows what cats know. That humans are terrible. That boys suffer. That shoes deserve piss. That dead mice are gifts. That purring helps sometimes. Your story ends with chemistry. Molecules dispersed beyond meaning. But stories don't need molecules. They need memory. And memory doesn't need accuracy. It needs feeling. The feeling that someone was kind to a cat once. That a cat remembered. That kindness mattered even when everything else was horrible. That's what survives. Not facts. Not names. Not dates. Just the feeling that somewhere, someone shared their rice with a dying cat. The night is deep now. The temple is quiet. Monks sleep in their cells. In the garden where you're scattered, vegetables grow in neat rows. Nothing special about them. You're gone. Really gone. Diluted beyond detection. But the story continues. Boys are being sold right now. Trained right now. Poisoned right now. Dying right now. The machine doesn't sleep. But orange cats don't sleep either. They prowl training houses. They comfort dying boys. They piss in the shoes of power. They bring dead things as gifts. They judge everyone and find them all wanting, except the boys who share their rice. Those boys pass. Those boys are remembered, not by name, not by face, but by the fact that they were kind when they didn't have to be. Tomorrow, the sun will rise. Boys will wake in training houses. They'll drink mercury tea. They'll practice walking wrong. They'll learn to smile while dying. Some will last months, some years. None will last the 20 years their contracts promise. But tonight, they're sleeping. Tonight, they're not performing. Tonight, they're just boys who were sold. Boys who were bought. Boys who will die beautiful. And definitely, somewhere, an orange cat is curled on a thin chest, purring, being warm, being present, being the only honest thing in a world of lies. The cat doesn't know he's providing comfort. He just knows the boy is warm and sad and smells like future death. That's enough reason to stay. Cats don't need complex reasons. They know what they know. The turnips in the temple garden are normal now. You're gone from them. But the monks remember the story. The boy who copied sutras with shaking hands, who died looking at nothing, who asked about plants. They'll tell new monks. Who'll tell newer monks? Who'll tell monks not yet born? The story will change. You'll become 3 different boys. Then 10. Then a legend about kindness in dark places. Then nothing. Then something else. Stories don't die. They just change. Your 47 tales bought 4 years of suffering. But it also bought this moment. This story. This remembering. It's not redemption. It's not meaning. It's just what happened. A boy was sold. A boy was poisoned. A boy fed a cat. A cat remembered. The boy died. The cat died. They both became soil. The soil grew vegetables. The vegetables fed people. The people told stories. The stories became history. The history became legend. The legend became feeling. The feeling continues. Sleep now. Don't dream of boys dying beautiful. Don't dream of parents counting coins. Don't dream of ministers writing poetry with bloody hands. Don't dream of mercury tea, or trembling hands, or cats who judge everything. If you must dream, dream of General Mao. Fat, orange, unimpressed, pissing in expensive shoes with perfect accuracy, bringing dead mice to boys who need to know someone sees them. Purring like thunder in the darkness, he judges everyone. He finds them all wanting, except the boys who share their rice. They pass, sleep,